Caddo Lake is out on Max, new mystery thriller starring Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon. It's a surprisingly well done movie and an example of a film that's good to go into as blind as possible, so as not to spoil yourself. I will try to refrain from any spoilers and plot details myself in this review, but in general, if you like things like Dark and Lost, you can turn this review off and just go watch the film. That's the short version of the recommendation. So the story starts with two separate plot lines, both taking place at and around Lake Caddo, which I believe is the one of the only natural lakes in Texas. The first storyline follows Paris, played by Dylan O'Brien. He's a sort of young guy working at a company, clearing the lake from debris and flotsam together with his dad. He's clearly dealing with trauma, unresolved trauma from the past. He lost his mother in a car accident years before and refuses to let that go. He keeps revisiting the doctors with his wild theories about his mother's seizures being potentially related to the local weather phenomenons. Second storyline is about Ellie, an even younger girl who lives around the lake and has a very strained relationship with her mother and stepfather. She also has a past that defines her. Her dad went missing years ago, and while everyone else seems to have moved on, she is still sort of haunted by that and refusing to accept her new family. And then when her stepsister, with whom she actually has a good relationship with, goes missing on the lake, Ellie goes off on her own to try and find her, and in the process stumbles onto a much bigger mystery. So, as I said earlier, I thought this was remarkably well done. The film had little marketing, and so it sort of came out of nowhere, and I think knocked it out of the park. Now, I will say it's very reminiscent of Dark, the German show on Netflix, and a little bit less so Your Name, the Makoto Shinkai anime film. So if you've seen any of those two, you will recognize some plot points and some plot mechanics here. But even if you have that familiarity, I think the execution is still good enough to make you forgive the copied elements. It's just a very entertaining watch. The plot unfolds at just the right pace, where the first half hour or so you're not even sure or aware that there might be some sort of supernatural element coming. You sort of expect it to be like a true crime, or not true crime, but crime drama where, you know, a person goes missing and everyone is searching for her. And even if I was able to predict the basic plot twist fairly early on, I still found a lot of enjoyment in piecing together how exactly everything happened and how it all fits together. The details are revealed at the perfect pace where you're never bored, but also things never move so quickly that you're sort of left behind and they are too difficult to follow. Remarkably, there are no plot holes, as far as I'm aware, or inconsistencies. And when all is said and done, you come to realize even the smallest of details in the movie played some part in the larger narrative and contributed to the larger whole and the world building. Crucially, the characters are also smart. What I mean is, sometimes you'll have movies with a crazy situation happening, something supernatural, and you in the audience already know what's going on, but the characters, even though they see it with their own two eyes, they refuse to accept the nature of their reality. They are in denial. Whereas here, I think both protagonists are fairly quick to also realize what is going on, connect the dots, and then just accept it and keep moving. There's no stupidity here, or at least very little. I thought the atmosphere of the lake area was conveyed very well. It's a really interesting type of environment, and I thought the film crew did a very good job of transporting you into that area through the screen. I also really enjoyed the performances. Even though both main characters have similar types of trauma that defines them, they are still very different characters in terms of how it affects them and how they behave and talk to others. Their entire demeanor, so to speak. Paris is defeated, dejected. He gave up on moving on with his life and is resigned to staying forever where he is. He's sort of chained to Lake Caddo. Whereas Ellie is the opposite. She focuses on studies so that she can leave all this behind, at least geographically speaking. And of course, both leads do a good job of conveying those characters. Final point, as the film approached its ending, I thought to myself, shit, either they will pull some nonsense Deus Ex solution. Or if the movie wants to follow its own internal rules that it established and be consistent with them, this is gonna end in a really bleak and depressing way. And then it does end in a really bleak and depressing way. It's a tragic ending, and I thought not only is it good on its own, but I can also respect the filmmakers for sticking with that, for being consistent in the way you wrote the story and leading it to its natural conclusion instead of trying to pull something more Hollywood optimistic. I loved it. I thought it was genuinely a very good movie.